David spares Saul twice, from 1 Samuel 24 and 26. King Saul had been chasing David throughout the land of Israel. When Saul heard David was hiding in the wilderness called En-Gedi, he took 3,000 men and went there. One day, Saul went inside a cave, not knowing that David and his men were hiding in the back of the same cave. "This is it," David's men whispered to him. "This is the day God meant when he said he would deliver your enemies into your hands." David sneaked over to where Saul was and cut off a corner of Saul's robe. Immediately, he felt guilty. "Why did I do that?" David said to his men. "God forbid that I do this to the king, to the Lord's anointed." David held back his men, not allowing them to attack Saul as they watched the king leave the cave. David followed Saul out of the cave and called, "My lord the king." Saul turned and saw David bowing. "Why do you listen to people who say I want to harm you?" David asked. "Today God put you into my hands, and some urged me to kill you, but I said, I will not lay a hand on the king because he is the Lord's anointed. See the corner of your robe in my hand? I could have killed you. I'm not against you, yet you hunt me to take my life. I will not raise my hand against you." "Is that your voice, David?" Saul began to weep. "You are a better man than I am. You have been good to me, but I have done evil to you. May God reward you with good for the way you have treated me today. I know you will be king someday. Promise me that you won't kill my family." So David promised, and Saul went home. But David continued to hide in the wilderness. One day some people told Saul, "Did you know that David is hiding in the wilderness of Ziph?" Saul set out again to find David. In the evening he set up camp for the night. When David heard that Saul had come to the wilderness, he sent spies to confirm Saul's arrival. Arriving at Saul's camp, David could see Saul and Abner, his general, sleeping. They were safely encircled by the army. "Who will come with me into Saul's camp?" David whispered to his soldiers. "I will go with you," replied Abishai. David and Abishai quietly sneaked into Saul's camp. The soldiers who should have been protecting the king were sleeping. In the center of camp, they found Saul fast asleep with his spear stuck in the ground beside him. "God has given you your enemy's life," Abishai told David. "Let me kill Saul with his own spear." "Don't touch him," David responded. "No one can harm the Lord's anointed and be sinless. God controls when Saul will die. I refuse to harm him. Grab his spear and water jug and let's go." God had kept everyone asleep. Once David was safely on the opposite hilltop, he shouted across to the army and to Abner the general. "Aren't you going to answer me, Abner?" David called. Abner replied, "Who are you to call to the king?" "Aren't you supposed to be guarding King Saul?" David called again. "You're not doing a good job. Someone sneaked into the camp. Look what I have, the water jug and spear that were beside the king himself." Saul had recognized David's voice and called, "Is that you, David?" "It is," David replied. "Why are you chasing me again? What have I done? If God has told you to pursue me, then I gladly forfeit my life. But if men have told you to hunt me down, then may God curse them. I have been driven from my rightful place because the king of Israel hunts me like a man hunting a bird." Then Saul said, "I have sinned against you, David. I promise not to chase you anymore because you considered my life to be valuable." "Send a young man to claim your spear," David answered. "I had the opportunity to kill you, but I chose not to. Just as I valued your life today, so may God value my life in my time of trouble." Then Saul blessed David. "You will do great things and will succeed in them." So David and Saul went their separate ways. God had promised to make David the king one day, so David knew he would live to be king. God had also promised that David's reign would be important, that one of David's descendants would save the people of Israel. That promised one wasn't David's son, or even David's grandson. He is Jesus, God's son, who fulfilled God's promises by dying for the sins of the world.